Welcome back. We're following a news alert now. We told you at the top of this hour, SLED just announcing they've opened another criminal investigation into the Murdaugh family. This time it's involving the death of Gloria Satterfield back in 2018. Now, at the time of her death, she was a housekeeper for the Murdaughs, and she apparently tripped and fell on the property there. Now, apparently there was some type of settlement with the Murdaugh family and Gloria Satterfield's family, but her sons say they never saw the $500,000 that was promised to them in the settlement, and now they filed a lawsuit. We're working to get that lawsuit up right now at foxcarolina.com, where you can actually read it. Now, this comes less than 24 hours after we learned about a major plot twist in that September 4th shooting of Alex Murdaugh himself. We learned late last night he set the whole thing up in an effort to get his son to cash in on his $10 million life insurance policy. Obviously, he survived and it was botched. So here's what we know. Curtis Edward Smith, this guy right here, is now in custody. He is accused of conspiring with Alex Murdaugh to carry out his own suicide, homicide, however you want to look at it. Now, you'll remember, Murdaugh was shot on September 4th right here in Colleton County. He survived this shooting, having a superficial gunshot to the head. State police say Murdaugh then admitted to hiring Smith, giving him the gun, and telling him to shoot him in the head while he was changing a flat tire on his Mercedes SUV. SLED says, again, this was all a scheme so his son Buster could collect that $10 million insurance policy. Smith was a former client of Murdaugh. So far, no charges have been filed against Murdaugh, but important note here, he is listed as a co-defendant in the charging documents Fox Carolina received from SLED in regards to Smith. Now, Murdaugh's lawyer shared this statement with us, in part saying, quote, on September 4th, it became clear Alex believed that ending his life was his only option. Today, he knows that's not true. For the last 20 years, there have been many people feeding his addiction to opioids. During that time, these individuals took advantage of his addiction and his ability to pay substantial funds for illegal drugs. One of those individuals took advantage of his mental illness and agreed to take Alex's life by shooting him in the head. Fortunately, Alex was not killed by the gunshot wound. Now, I do want to mention this. I'll be interviewing Alex Murdaugh's attorney coming up after the 6 o'clock news, and you'll hear directly from him tonight on the 10 o'clock news. Now, this is just the latest development in this saga developing with the Murdaugh family. There is a lot of information. In fact, just in the last 24 hours, 2 huge breaks in this case. And again, coming up tonight on the 10 o'clock news, you'll hear my interview with Alex Murdaugh's own attorney. It's going to be interesting. I have a lot of questions for him, and I'll be talking with him coming up after the 6 o'clock news. Now, again, all of this, the whole thing started back in June 7th. That's when everything started happening with the Murdaugh family. That's when his wife, Maggie, and Alex Murdaugh's son, Paul, were found shot to death on their property in Colleton County. Now, Alex found their bodies, and at the time, Paul, his son, was charged in a 2019 boating crash that killed a 19-year-old girl in the Low Country. So after that double homicide, fast forward 2 months, on September 4th, Alex, now we've learned, set up his own shooting. He was out changing that tire on the side of the road when he hired, according to SLED, a former client to shoot and kill him. Then, on Labor Day, 2 days after Alex Murdaugh was shot, he was released from the hospital, announcing he would resign from his firm and check into an opioid addiction program. In a statement, he said, quote, the murders of my wife and son have caused an incredible, difficult time in my life. I have made a lot of decisions that I truly regret. The firm later accused Murdaugh of stealing money from them, which his family started this firm. And then, 2 days after he came out going into rehab and saying that he's going to step away from his law firm, the state Supreme Court suspended Murdaugh's law license. And then we learned SLED officially launched a criminal investigation into those missing funds that could be up into the millions. Now, Murdaugh's lawyer says he has fully cooperated with SLED. That's a different story than what we're hearing from SLED themselves. I'll have a lot of questions, again, for Alex Murdaugh's attorney, and we'll hear from him and some more answers from them coming up tonight at 10. There's a lot to get through here, folks. There's a lot of parallel criminal investigations happening with the Murdaugh family. A couple key things here. No one has been arrested in Maggie and Paul's homicide. That's the big thing right now. We'll see what happens. And as of right now, Alex Murdaugh has not been charged with anything. He's still in that rehab facility. Of course, we'll have continuing coverage right here on air and inside our free Fox Carolina News app. You can go there right now. We have a lot of articles up and you can catch up with everything unfolding around this family. Stay with us because things are developing literally by the hour, Tori.